Bongo. The bongo is a chestnut-colored antelope that lives in the forests of Central and Western Africa. Like some other varieties of antelope, they develop distinctive white vertical stripes down their shoulders, like dripped pastry icing. Both males and females have spiraling horns. Bongos live on a diet of roots, sweet potato, branch tips, and shoots. Sometimes they even eat dirt or burned wood to get salt or other minerals. Their tongue can wrap around food, making it easier for them to feed from plants that are high off the ground. Bongos are the only forest antelope to form herds. They are private, shy animals that run if they are the least bit frightened. Because they take refuge in the forest, habitat destruction is one of the main threats to the species. African buffalo. The African buffalo is a wild oxen native to Africa. Like domestic cattle and some other artiodactyl mammals, buffalo are cud-chewing and have cloven hooves and permanent horns, but they are much larger and more powerful than cattle. The African buffalo, which inhabits most of southern and central Africa, is a large and imposing creature, frequently cited as the most dangerous of all African species of big game. It weighs 500 to 900 kilograms and measures about 1.7 meters at the shoulder. It is noted for horns that are massive at the base, forming a helmet over the forehead and reaching a length of about 1 meter. African buffalo range from semi-arid savannas to rainforests and from lowland swamps and reed beds to high mountain meadows. The buffalo has retreated in many places as a result of hunting, settlements, agriculture, and a virulent disease called rinderpest, but the population still includes well over 1 million animals. Maasai giraffe. The Maasai giraffe is one of 9 subspecies of the giraffe family. Giraffes have short, dense fur with an intricate pattern of dark patches that range from tannish yellow to chestnut brown. This coloration helps giraffes blend in among trees and leaves, making them harder for predators to spot. Although no two giraffe skin patterns are exactly the same, some regional patterns are so common and distinct that zoologists have identified a number of giraffe subspecies based on the patterns. One of the most striking of these subspecies is the reticulated giraffe, which has large brown patches separated by thin contrasting lines, making a pattern that looks like broken paving. The Maasai giraffe has patches with complex jagged outlines. In all giraffes, the coat color tends to become darker with age. In captivity, giraffes have lived into their mid-30s, but their maximum lifespan in the wild is about 25 years. African spurred tortoise. The African spurred tortoise is the largest land tortoise on the African continent, weighing 105 kilograms. These large animals require large amounts of space. They are also very strong and require sturdy exhibits when housed in zoos. African spurred tortoises require a high-fiber diet to remain healthy. In the wild, they graze on mixed grasses, clover, and the pads of prickly pear cactus. They also need foods that are high in calcium, because they grow to be so large. They depend on succulent plants for their water supply. These tortoises are very aggressive toward each other from the time they hatch. Males occasionally ram into each other and try to flip each other over. When the weather gets too hot, African spurred tortoises burrow to avoid dehydration. If there is mud available on a hot day, they cover themselves in it as much as possible, even flipping it up onto their shells with their legs. To avoid the extreme temperatures of the day, they are most active at dusk and at dawn. They sometimes bask in the morning sunshine to warm up after a cold night. Wildebeest. The wildebeest, also known as anu, is a large African antelope with an ox-like head, horns, and shoulders, bristly facial hair and mane, and a horse-like tail. 2 species exist, the black wildebeest, which was once abundant in South Africa but has now been hunted back to about 10,000 individuals, and the blue wildebeest, herds of which are common on grassy plains from Kenya south to northern South Africa. Both sexes of both species have broad, smooth horns that curve downward, outward, and then upward. The blue wildebeest, which varies from bluish-gray to brown, is native to the open woodlands and grasslands of southern Africa and is one of its fastest residents. It weighs approximately 272 kilograms and stands about 137 centimeters tall. Its large head and short neck support horns more than 61 centimeters long, but its best defense is that it is a tireless runner. Although the bristly faces and massive shoulders make wildebeests appear menacing, they go into antics when approached, dashing off and wheeling about to gaze at intruders. Wildebeests roam the African savanna in herds of 30 to 500. More than 1 million forage for grasses on the Serengeti Plain alone. Females bear single calves, which can run a few minutes after birth. Mothers in a herd synchronize reproduction, generating a flood of calves that overwhelms the appetites of predators. The young are frequently taken by hyenas, and the adults are a favorite prey of lions. Single males defend territories and court estrus females crossing their land. Males without territories form loose bachelor herds. In dry seasons, some herds migrate in huge congregations. Nile monitor. Nile monitors are among the largest lizards in the world today. They have an aggressive temperament and great physical power in their jaws, legs, and tail. They often use their tail as a slashing weapon against their prey and in combat with other monitors. Nile monitors are carnivorous and tend to swallow their prey whole, the way snakes do. Their diet is varied. They'll eat grasshoppers and beetles, as well as birds, fish, rodents, and even other lizards. Also known as a water monitor, these lizards tend to live by rivers and streams in sub-Saharan Africa. They can grow to be 6 feet long. While they primarily dwell on the ground near the water, they have been known to climb trees to eat eggs from bird nests. Ratel. The ratel, also known as the honey badger, is a medium-sized, skunk-like mammal native to Africa and parts of Asia. Named for its habit of eating honey, the ratel is also a courageous fighter, willing to attack cobras, cattle, and even bison. Ratels are found throughout most of Africa as well as in southern and central Asia, ranging eastward from the Arabian Peninsula to India and Nepal. They inhabit forests as well as open grasslands and dry savannas. Ratels have muscular bodies, measuring between 60 and 77 centimeters long, not including the 20 to 30 centimeters tail. They may weigh up to 13 kilograms. The ratel's markings are quite distinctive. The head, neck, and back are covered with coarse, gray-white fur, while the face, legs, belly, and short furry tail are solid black. A small number of ratels are entirely black. Their short legs and large, strong claws are well adapted for digging. Ratels are extremely difficult to kill. Their skin is unusually tough and is attached loosely to the body, making it hard for other animals to grasp. Animal bites, bee stings, or porcupine quills usually do not penetrate the ratel's tough hide. As an added deterrent to predators, the anal glands of ratels can emit a foul-smelling liquid. The ratel is so named because bee honey is one of its favorite foods. In parts of Africa, the ratel finds beehives with the help of a bird that eats bee larvae, called the honey guide. When it finds a beehive, the bird gives a series of characteristic calls to guide the ratel to it. The ratel then uses its strong legs, claws, and teeth to tear open the hive, and both animals feed on the contents. Other foods in the ratel's diet include insects, eggs, birds, lizards, snakes, plants, and small mammals. It forages for food in either the day or night. Ratels live in underground burrows that they dig with their strong legs and claws. They den in groups but often hunt alone or in pairs. After mating, the female experiences delayed implantation, which means the fertilized eggs do not start developing for several months. The gestational period, including this delay, is thought to be about 6 months. The female gives birth to 1 to 4 young, which she raises in a grassland chamber. Ratels are known to be quite courageous. They will attack large animals, such as horses, cattle, antelope, and buffalo, if these creatures intrude upon their burrows. Because of their fierce style of self-defense, ratels have not been widely hunted for their fur. In spite of this ferocity, they are sometimes raised as pets, because they can be tame and affectionate if caught young. An Aduat ratel is still a strong, energetic animal, however, and pets have been known to damage cages and other property and to attack without apparent reason. Gerenuk. The gerenuk is a relative of the gazelle. It differs from gazelles in that it has an elongated neck and a more solid skull. Only the males have horns. Gerenuks live in small groups. Some groups are made up of females and their young, and other groups are made up exclusively of males. The males tend to hold specific territories, while the female groups may wander, often through several of the male territories. There is no specific mating season for the gerenuk. Because they are adaptable eaters, they can mate at any time of the year. Gerenuks are vegetarians and use their long necks to reach up for high-growing plants. They even stand on their hind legs to feed, using their forelegs to pull down the branches of trees. Gerenooks are prey for cheetahs, leopards, lions, and jackals. Aardvark. Aardvark is the common name for a burrowing, ant-eating mammal. The aardvark is found throughout much of Africa, from the southern part of Egypt to the Cape of Good Hope. A primarily nocturnal animal, it lives in burrows and feeds on ants and termites, occasionally eating other insects, the fat mouse, and a species of wild ground cucumber. The aardvark is up to 2.3 meters long, including the fleshy, tapering tail, which it uses to throw earth backward when it burrows. It has an arched back, a tubular snout, and large, upright ears. The aardvark uses its specialized, chisel-shaped claws to break open the hard clay of termite nests, then it uses its sticky tongue to capture the insects in the nest. Unlike the animals known as anteaters, which are toothless, the aardvark has 20 cylindrical, rootless teeth that grow continually throughout its lifetime. The female gives birth to one or occasionally two offspring, which can dig their own burrows at the age of 6 months. Although timid, the aardvark will fight when it cannot flee or burrow to safety. It defends itself with its powerful claws or by striking with its tail or shoulders. Barbary ape. The Barbary ape is a tailless monkey whose body is about 61 centimeters long and covered with greenish-brown hair. It is the only macaque native to regions outside Asia, and it is abundant in some parts of North Africa. In the wild, the Barbary ape lives in high cedars and oak forests of the Atlas Mountains of Morocco and Algeria. The wild population is estimated at between 14,000 and 23,000. The Barbary ape occurs in fossil records during the Pleistocene epoch and is now the only monkey found in Europe. This European population was probably introduced, however, and is restricted to about 240 animals, found on Gibraltar. When the population exceeds this number, the additional animals are shipped to zoos. White rhinoceros. The white rhinoceros, also called the square-lipped rhino, is one of 5 species of rhinoceros alive today. 3 of those species live in Asia, and the other 2 live in Africa. The white rhino is the largest of the rhino species and also the most peaceful. The black rhino is only about half the size of the white rhino but is much more aggressive. Both African rhinos have 2 horns on the end of their noses. The horns are not made of bone, as they are with cows and antelope. They are actually deposits of keratin fibers, which is the same protein that hair is made of. All rhinos are vegetarians. Although the black rhino feeds on leaves and twigs, the white rhino lives almost entirely on grass. In fact, it eats so much grass that it is one of the few animals classified as a megaherbivore. Secretary bird. Secretary bird is the common name for a large bird of prey, found in Africa south of the Sahara. It is more than 1 meter in length and has very long legs, a long tail, and a powerful, hooked beak. Many books derive the origin of the bird's name from a fanciful resemblance of its crest of long feathers to a group of quill pens placed behind the ear. But the name is actually a mispronunciation of the Arabic name for the species. The general color of the bird is bluish-gray, the primaries, thighs, and tail markings are black. The bird feeds on small animals and on reptiles, particularly snakes, generally by stalking them. Secretary birds rarely fly. These solitary birds build large, strong nests of twigs in trees or bushes and lay 2 eggs in a clutch. Warthog. The warthog is a wild pig that has 2 pairs of tusks and 2 pairs of wart-like protuberances on a long, white head. Warthogs have stocky bodies with thin legs, and a long, tufted tail. Widespread on the plains and open woodlands of Africa, their diet includes grass, berries, bark, roots, and carrion. They are normally diurnal, spending the night in burrows, but in places with heavy human activity warthogs may become nocturnal. 1 or 2 females with young form small groups, which a male may join briefly during mating season. Young males form bachelor groups, but older males are solitary. Male offspring separate from their mother after a maximum of 15 months. Female offspring may stay in the mother's herd for their entire lives. Offspring, regardless of gender, are driven off when new offspring are born. The older offspring sometimes return to the mother later. The warthog's tusks are sharp weapons used against such predators as lions. Fights with other warthogs are mostly pushing matches, the tusks seldom used. Meerkat. The meerkat, also called the suricate, is a small member of the mongoose family that inhabits the southern part of Africa. Meerkats are known for their upright posture and highly sociable behavior. Meerkats typically live in dry, open areas and savannas. Their range extends from southwestern Angola to South Africa. These social animals live in colonies, usually in places with sandy soil where they can dig elaborate underground burrows. Meerkats measure about 25 to 35 centimeters in length, not including the tail. They are more slender than many mongooses. They have pointed snouts, silvery brown fur, and irregular dark stripes on the rump. Their faces are white with dark markings on the ears and around the eyes. Unlike most mongooses, surrogates have 4 rather than 5 toes on each paw. Meerkats forage for food only during the day and eat mainly insects, particularly beetles, spiders, and millipedes. They sometimes feed on small vertebrates, eggs, and roots. Meerkats typically have 2 to 4 young, which are often born in the fall or early winter after a gestational period of about 11 weeks. Both females and males care for, groom, and guard their offspring. Meerkats typically stand up straight on their hind legs or even their toes to sniff the wind and search for attacking vultures. They have excellent vision and are capable of making at least 10 types of sounds, including an alarm bark. Because meerkats can carry rabies, they have been hunted or gassed in their burrows in areas where they pose a threat to humans. This has not reduced their numbers significantly. In South Africa, these affectionate and easily tamed creatures are often kept as pets. Gelada. The gelada is closely related to the baboon. It is distinguished from baboons, however, by the structure of its nostrils, which are farther from the tip of the mouth than those of the baboon. The adult male gelada has a very distinctive cape of hair that covers its head and hangs down its back. The gelada is an African animal that lives in the mountain grasslands primarily in Ethiopia. It is found only at altitudes of between 1,400 and 4,400 meters above sea level. The gelada lives almost entirely on a diet of grass, mixed with a few roots, bulbs, and the occasional locusts and insects. Because of this restricted diet, it spends much of the day grazing. The gelada's social structure involves groups of many male-centered families. A male gelada has as many as a dozen females as simultaneous mates. These unimale family units get together to form larger bands of several hundred that forage together, and those bands also group together to form even larger groups. Striped hyena. The hyena is a dog-like carnivore that is a renowned scavenger. Hyenas have powerful jaws capable of crushing large bones that other predators cannot eat. The hyena's range spans Africa, the Middle East, and southwestern Asia, including India. In prehistoric times, hyenas also roamed Europe. Their habitat is usually open plains and grasslands, but they are sometimes found in rocky terrain, brush-covered areas, and open forests. There are 3 species of hyenas: the spotted hyena, the striped hyena, and the brown hyena. Of these, the spotted hyena is the largest. The size of striped hyenas ranges in length from 1.2 to 1.5 meters, including the 30 centimeters tail, and in weight from 25 to 55 kilograms. Striped hyenas are yellow-brown with dark stripes and an upright mane on their necks and backs. All hyenas share the characteristic of a distinctly sloping back, resulting from a size difference between their large, muscular front legs and smaller back legs. Each foot has 4 toes with non-retractable claws that help hyenas to run on the open plains. Hyenas have small heads that contain massive jaws and teeth. A prominent anal pouch, located under the base of the long, bushy tail, is used for scent marking. Most active at night, hyenas typically scavenge the kills of other animals, feeding on the body parts left behind. They are able to bite through tough hides and crush and digest large bones. Indigestible materials, such as hair, hooves, and horns, are formed into pellets in the digestive tract and regurgitated through the mouth. Hyenas also make their own kills. Capable of running up to 65 km per hour, individual hyenas will attack sheep, goats, wildebeest, and other animals, and they will form packs of 10 or more to bring down a zebra. Hyenas usually associate in strongly territorial clans, which are centered around communal dens. A clan may consist of 10 or 12 females, 20 young, known as whelps, and a number of males on the fringes. Pair bonding is not evident, and the female, larger than the male, selects her mating partners. Females conceive throughout the year, giving birth to 1 to 5 whelps after a gestation period of 92 to 110 days. Pygmy hippopotamus. The most obvious difference between the pygmy hippopotamus and the more common river hippopotamus is size. Pygmy hippos stand only about 2.5 feet tall at the shoulder and weigh 350 to 550 pounds. That may seem heavy to humans, but the larger river hippo can weigh up to 8,000 pounds. We know much less about the habits of pygmy hippos than we do of their larger relatives. Not only are pygmy hippos rare, but they are also nocturnal and solitary, so it is difficult to observe them in the wild. Unlike river hippos, which are spread out over much of the African continent, pygmy hippos are only found in a small area in Western Africa. Like all hippos, pygmy hippos are herbivores. They graze on grasses, succulent plants, fallen fruit, and other low-lying vegetation. In the wild, pygmy hippos have suffered from human activity. Both habitat loss and hunters have caused the population to dwindle. There is, however, a stable population in zoos. Mandrill. The mandrill is a terrestrial baboon of tropical West Africa. The mandrill's heavy muscular body has stout, strong limbs and is coated with soft fur that is olive brown above, gray below, and merges into a yellow beard on the chin and a crest on the head. The eye ridges are prominent, and the eyes are small, deeply sunk, and close together. Enormous canine teeth add to its fierce appearance. Along the muzzle in front of the eyes is an especially large development of bony ridges that are covered with longitudinally ribbed naked skin. Adult head and body length reaches up to 90 centimeters, and the tail is little more than a stump. The females are less brilliantly colored than the males and are generally smaller and more slender. The adult male mandrill is readily distinguished by unique, brightly colored facial skin. The muzzle ridges are an intense cobalt blue, flanked by black, and the midline of the nose is bright scarlet. The blue color results from the structure of the skin, while the red color is due to skin pigment. The small, pointed ears are bluish-black, and the beard and cheeks are yellowish-white. The skin on the buttocks and inside the legs is naked and scarlet in color, shading to lilac, blue, or black. A male reaches full size and color at approximately 9 years. Mandrills are endangered as a result of hunting and habitat loss. Caracal. The caracal, also known as the Persian lynx, is a cat native to the savannas and dry, rocky hills of Africa and Asia. The caracal is 60 to 92 centimeters in head and body length, with a tail length of 23 to 31 centimeters. It is 38 to 50 centimeters high at the shoulder, and weighs 13 to 19 kilograms. It has a reddish-brown coat, white belly, and tufts of black hair on the tips of its ears. Caracals prey on rodents, birds, and small antelope. In India and Iran, caracals are sometimes tamed and used for hunting because of their speed and agility. They also hunt nesting or roosting birds at the tops of trees and have been known to attack eagles. The caracal has been overhunted but is now a protected species. Ethiopian wolf. The Ethiopian wolf is distantly related to the jackal family and is sometimes referred to as the simian jackal. It is the only type of wolf in Africa and is found in only a handful of mountain ranges in Ethiopia and Eritrea. Ethiopian wolves are carnivores and generally feed on rodents, including the giant mole rat. They hunt by digging rodents out of their burrows. Or sometimes they walk very slowly and quietly through areas where rodents are numerous and chase one down and snatch it off the ground. On rare occasions, Ethiopian wolves hunt cooperatively to bring down a larger animal, such as a young antelope or a lamb. The Ethiopian wolf is critically endangered. There are only about 400 adult Ethiopian wolves left in the world. The species is officially protected by the Ethiopian government, and there is an organization at Oxford University in England to save this species.